43 seconds of logos.
How did I miss it?
Galahad would be amazing at CinemaSins, but hey, we all know why you, a highly trained Secret Service guy, missed it. The plot. Yep, this movie has the balls to go for the snow globe transition shot. Are there seriously not any guards outside this door right now? I have people inside doing absolutely nothing. Furthermore, any random asshole can knock on the door in the middle of nowhere and you just answer it with the slightest amount of caution? And then Lancelot, who is doing all this on his own, doesn't kill the obvious bad guy at the door right away. Okay, so how did Gazelle manage to walk across the floor without anyone hearing her? This floor isn't carpeted, so how did she run without it sounding like Oscar Pistorius running from a burglar? When it comes down to it, this shot represents the love and hate of the Star Wars saga. This hologram meeting intrigues me. Do all of these agents bring their coasters and drinking glasses with them into the field, just in case one of their brothers dies and they need to toast him? And why does the hologram camera pick up the glass and coaster but nothing else about their surroundings? And how did all these busy agents' schedules align perfectly to have this meeting?
Try picking a more suitable candidate this time.
You're still holding a grudge about the last guy this one recruited? 17 years later? What's the statute of limitations on a bum recommendation to the Kingsman forces? These excessive liquor bottles are an orgy of evidence that suggests Eggsy lives a less than pleasant home life.
Eggsy?
Eggsy? Really? I'm not British enough to know if this kid's name is a flat-out joke or just charming.
We'll show your mother how free can be good company.
Mom moves on from her dead husband and starts picking nothing but loser asshole boyfriends cliche. And wow, the baby really knew when to start crying to put an exclamation point on this horrible situation.
Are you mental, cuz? He just get that lot to do you?
I don't know about you, but if I go into a pub and see a whole bunch of people I hate sitting nearby, I don't drink in that pub. But hey, any way we can introduce characters in a really slipshod manner is fine by me. Eggsy breaks this necklace completely, instead of just taking 3 seconds to unclasp it the normal way and preserve the necklace for future use.
What are you doing here? You taking a piss?
Damn, do these guys have a synced up drinking schedule or something? This guy only sees the tooth because he too is experiencing slow motion right now. Oh sure, people have fun ragging on the Bourne movies for shaky cam fight scenes, but this movie gets all the love for what amounts to many missing frames jumpy cam fight scenes. I am absolutely fine with umbrella assisted brawling, but I draw the line at amnesia darts, goddammit. Also, Harry will totally not amnesia dart these guys because he needs them to tell Eggsy's stepdad about the fight and conduct an elaborate test to examine Eggsy's loyalty. But they know all sorts of stuff they shouldn't know and never get amnesia darted. 20th Century Fox logo overload.
The story of the internet billionaire's rise to power is expected to be this award season's hot ticket.
Why? Also, this scroll says breaking news, but all it wants to report is a number to text and an email address. Damn, how many rolls of paper towel does this damn kitchen need? And this one on the dispenser has the towels facing wall first, and I f***ing hate that. Eggsy walks into his house like Dean's buddies weren't going to report the incident at the pub. But besides that, damn, those guys woke up from unconsciousness and called Dean about it really fast, didn't they? Eggsy is suddenly a parkour badass.
An independent, international intelligence agency operating at the highest level of discretion.
That is, unless you're beating up a bunch of bullies in a pub, and don't shoot them with that amnesia dart thing, and they call their boss so you can test your recruit's loyalty. That's the exception.
We're late.
Late? So wait a minute, one of your tasks after Lancelot died was to find a recruit. Are you telling me that you waited until Eggsy got in trouble and called you out of the blue to finally decide on one? Did you not have a plan B in this scenario? Amazing all this with Eggsy happened in the last 24 hours. Whitest recruitment ever.
Those idiots who call themselves politicians have buried their heads in the sand and stood for nothing but re-election.
Is this guy a bad guy or simply right? Discount back of Obama's head is discount. This asshole turned on his bright-ass light just to walk 10 feet to the toilet, making him a bad roommate and an enemy to darkness. I know most of these guys are basically geniuses from renowned universities, but where do you learn this type of survival shit? You mean you've run across stories where people were drowning and they use shower heads and toilets as a breathing apparatus? How often does that come up? I think I'll believe the toilet scuba tank before I believe someone can punch a two-way mirror to death underwater. I mean, Jesus. Let's talk about how Men in Black this movie is. Secret spy fighting force, multiple new recruits competing for one spot, one oddball candidate comes up with a unique solution to the test scenario while everyone else succeeds the traditional way. I mean, this movie is fun and I have no problem with it, but can we all just admit the screenwriter started with a literal copy of the Men in Black screenplay and then just tweaked all the specifics? Smacking Mark Hamill for any reason. You know what, if not for 50 Shades of Grey, I would not be noticing overly large panda art. But here I am, noticing overly large panda art in yet another movie, and I'm sick of it. This is the Ender's Game Divergent portion of the movie. Meanwhile, at Tony Stark's European home, all it takes is a couple of head fakes and you can totally dodge every single bullet 2 guards at close range shoot at you. Easily identifiable scar for villain's evil plan is easily identifiable. Eggsy somehow knows to operate this clipboard and call up YouTube or whatever it is that gives you instant news stories. Although let's be honest, this clipboard definitely doesn't do shit. Absolutely no one is suspicious of free phone shit post Edward Snowden. Don't you think several hackers would figure this shit isn't on the up and up within hours of its availability? And do you really think Big Cellular isn't going to hire henchmen to kill Valentine for this shit? The 4 non-main characters jump out of the plane and it takes her 30 seconds to finally jump. Unless the plane is simply hovering, which we know it ain't, this chick somehow finds her teammates and is able to catch up to them in no time, even though the plane was probably several miles ahead of the original drop point. But hey man, we all know dives like this wait for movie drama. So it turns out everyone's shoots worked, but this deception could easily have killed more than one person. More excessive panda art convinces me Samuel L. Jackson's character has a red room of sex pain somewhere in this dojo. I guess all the product placement in this movie is a joke, which I'm totally fine with. What I'm not fine with is the rich asshole serving McDonald's to his rich clients. I mean, even as a joke, how does he expect to woo the right people with this Also, f*** you, McMovie.
You like spy movies, Mr. DeVere?
Nowadays, they're all a little serious for my taste.
Matthew Vaughn commentary accidentally makes it into the actual script and therefore the movie.
When I was a kid, that was my dream job. Gentleman spy.
I think I know why he never became one, considering the Kingsman's recruiting standards. Did I just read racial subtext in a not-so-serious spy flick? Well, I guess that's a sin on me. Oh, and the movie.
Southglade Mission Church is a hate group based in Kentucky.
Oh no, not another spy movie going to Kentucky. Do British people think of Kentucky as the supervillain playground in the United States? So he's got a bunch of celebrities and dignitaries held prisoner, and not one of them decides to promote his product in exchange for freedom. Which is, okay, fine. But he's just casually running a prison now for 300 famous people? Hey everyone, you know how I hate to be annoying, but that picture they're holding in their hand is impossible, no matter how awesome the transition is. You know, I think if I woke up tied to some train tracks and I knew I was in an organization that liked to f*** with people, I might take this almost too calmly. In other words, the fact that you've been tricked so many times eventually leads you to the conclusion that you're not in a situation you think you are, and therefore the results of such a test are skewed.
Just the King's Arthur.
I mean, this guy is a total dumbass.
God damn it. It f***ing hurts.
I used biometrics for clocking in at work, and that didn't hurt. What the hell kind of biometrics is this? This fitting room leads to a weapons and gadget chamber that you can access simply by pulling a hook, something that could easily be done on accident. Now, maybe the tailor outside doesn't let you go in this room if you're a normal person, but why is it all left a chance? Galahad needed to use a biometric system to make the floor descend earlier, so why not here too?
Ah, perfect timing. Gentleman's just finished.
How do you know, since the door is closed?
I might suggest Locke & Co., Hattis and James's.
Locked as in smoked fish.
Now, how did he make that leap in logic?
I have trouble understanding you people sometimes. You all talk so funny.
That's racist.
Shoot the dog.
And he doesn't, which is fairly ridiculous at this stage when every test has been a bit of a practical joke. And how has he not heard of this classic spy school where they ask you to shoot one of your loved ones and the gun is filled with blanks?
At least the girl's got balls.
Yeah, but what would have happened if both of them passed this test? Is there something even more f***ed up you have in store if they somehow don't know they're being messed with? Would they have both passed? You'd have to have a girl in your Knights of the Round Table motif. I guess she'd be Guinevere, but then that opens up a whole bunch of other questions, namely if two dudes pass the test. Eggsy stole this car, but how did you get off the Kingsman estate with it? Just in case you confused it with Kentucky, Kyrgyzstan.
Our filthy government condones sodomy, divorce.
Movie saves a lot of money by simply recording a Westboro Baptist church meeting. Okay, I'm just gonna remove 5 sins for this scene right here. Anybody mind that? I mean, Freebird and everything. Good God, Matthew Vaughn. Have you been peeking into my fantasy action scene database? How is it after that melee there are about 100 people still in their pews, like they never once got up?
Now I'm gonna tell you my whole plan, and then I'm gonna come up with some absurd and convoluted way to kill you, and you'll find an equally convoluted way to escape. Well, this ain't that kind of movie.
Haha, wink at the audience enough and they will forgive anything, right? No, Eggsy drives to the Kingsman shop, which means he has to go through all the biometrics to make the floor descend so he can take the shuttle to go to the mansion. So why is he able to do that when he failed the test and is no longer part of the program? Somehow, Arthur has this ridiculous scar on his neck, and nobody who knows what that means ever saw it. Until Eggsy, that is. Pen surgery? Well, isn't that lucky? Eggsy killed Arthur just before he got a text telling him exactly where he needs to go, and the remaining Kingsman can stop Valentine's plan. It's almost like Matthew Vaughn recycled some of his X-Men First Class ideas into this movie.
I'm supposed to be Arthur. His invitation's in his phone. Give him this.
Yeah, but didn't Valentine monitor all of his people so that if they were about to blab, he'd kill him? Doesn't he know Arthur is dead? And even if he didn't, doesn't he know what Arthur looks like? Wouldn't there be other giveaways, like the fact that Eggsy doesn't have a scar on his neck?
Let's turn those frowns upside down.
Let's turn those frowns upside down.
Just a king.
Mr. King, welcome.
I mean, seriously, absolutely no photo ID required?
Firing in 3, 2...
Well, I know you want to create obstacles for your heroes to overcome during the big climax, but does it have to be so suspiciously timed to the exact moment of success? You know, this movie isn't the type of movie where the villain tells the hero his evil plan and puts him in an easily escapable situation, but it is the type of movie where the hero gets a last-second break to help foil an evil plan. I realize maybe he changed clips off screen, but it sure looks like this movie thinks Eggsy's gun can hold all the bullets. All these guys miss Eggsy, who isn't dodging or anything. That missile took forever to hit its target, with no time to spare.
This is mine. I'll show you yours.
Well, this urgent climax seems like the perfect time for a weird Men in Black dramatic weapon-earning bullshit. When you're on a secret plane that you can only access by being a Kingsman in the first place, why do you need a secret compartment for weapons?
King Valentine's got a present for you. Get a move on.
A present could mean anything. A bomb. Why not just say 35 soldiers just ran down the tunnel after you, yo? None of these guys thinks to shoot the legs and feet. Where were these assholes when the other dudes were trying to kill Eggsy earlier? Also, seeing all these soldiers makes me realize, after Valentine executes his plan, who's going to do all the dirty work so that these rich people can continue living their lives in a rich manner? Maybe there's some subtext there, but no one calls him out on it. I mean, it's not like all the people who do the jobs of the world are going to be around. Well, I guess it's a good thing that each of these prison cells has a fortified nook Eggsy can shelter in. These implants blow up domino style, instead of all at once. Also, why are all the head implant explosions so colorful? And why did someone take the time to make sure there were 4 distinct color possibilities?
Yeah, fine. I've locked the door. What do you want me to do now?
Yeah, what do you want me to do now? Random girl I've never met or talked to before and I'm completely trusting because you mentioned Eggsy's name?
Sorry, love. Gotta save the world.
If you save the world, we can do it in the asshole.
Power of boners was already strong enough to save the world, but Swedish anal sex boners, that's a whole different ball of wax, and unexpected lube purchases. Okay, but when they save the day later, how are there not still hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of dead people from this global rampage? The problem with a great many of these fight scenes is stuff like this that looks fake as shit. Michelle is now in the bathroom, but despite the fact that she's in a frenzy, this scene will end a lot less tragically than it should have. I'm glad Eggsy's mom didn't kill his baby sister, but almost everyone else's baby sister got killed during this, so man, anal sex. Could be said that the end of this movie got downright cheeky, am I right? I'm all for Dean getting his ass kicked in virtually the exact same way Galahad beat all his henchmen's asses earlier, but why the f is this in the credits?
Are you taking the fucking piss?
I'm afraid not.
What does Marcellus Wallace look like?
What?
What country you from?
What?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
Please fasten your seatbelt. We're beginning our descent.
Okay, welcome as long as the bony, won't it? Little pinky booter. Hey, you squishy bottom. Yeah.
1,000 feet! Pull!
After you, Alphonse! I insist!
Your verbal.
I am Mr. Kobayashi.
Kobayashi. Tell me every last detail.
I work for Kaiser Soze.
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France?
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese. You know why they call it that?
Because of the metric system?
Check out the big brain on bread.
A pen. This is a class 4 grenade. 3 clicks, arms the 4-second fuse. Another 3 disarms it.
Get out. I knew you couldn't make it.
To Galahad.
I switched glasses when your back was turned. Ha ha, you fool!
Global warming is the fever. Mankind is the virus.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague.
Bugger, buggity, fuck, ass, balls, willy, shit, and fuck, and tits.